Parliamentary confirmation hearings for President Lee Jae-myung's first cabinet began on Monday, where the main opposition People Power Party argued the candidates are unfit for the roles, and the ruling Democratic Party backed the nominees, claiming they have no critical flaws. South Korea's trade minister says the country needs to make a strategic decision to find a landing zone in trade negotiations with the U.S., especially on agricultural items that the U.S. has demanded ease the regulations on. President Lee Jae-myung on Monday made time to sit down with soon-to-be civil servants, where he stressed a sense of duty and the importance of their public service. Tonight, we begin at the National Assembly. Confirmation hearings for President Lee Jae-myung's inaugural cabinet picks have kicked off, with the rival parties exchanging barbs over allegations involving the nominees. Our political correspondent, Shin Ha-young, reports.
The Assembly confirmation hearings for President Lee Jae-myung's first cabinet got off to a rocky start, with tensions between the rival parties prompting some sessions to be delayed or suspended. National Assembly standing committees held 4 hearings on Monday, including those for the nominees for unification, science, oceans, and gender equality ministers. In South Korea, cabinet appointments are subject to parliamentary hearings but do not require legislative approval to take effect. While the main opposition People Power Party has vowed to examine the nominees' qualifications and moral integrity, claiming many are unfit and should step down, the ruling Democratic Party is backing the nominees, saying there are no critical flaws.
The Democratic Party will support the swift formation of the Lee Jae-myung administration's cabinet to ensure smooth governance and help stabilize state affairs.
The Lee Jae-myung administration's first cabinet lineup is completely flawed. None of the nominees are qualified. There are concerns that the hearings will just become a stage for baseless excuses and lies.
During their hearing for Unification Minister, nominee Chung Dong-young emphasized the need to improve relations between South and North Korea and restore peace on the Korean peninsula. He also said the minister's name should be reconsidered and discussed in the National Assembly, suggesting Ministry of the Korean Peninsula as one possible option. Chung has been stressing that renaming the ministry would help focus on making peace on the Korean Peninsula a top priority.
The Jae-myung administration needs a fresh start. As part of that, I believe it's time to consider changing the name of the Ministry of Unification.
Kang Sun-woo, a DP lawmaker nominated for Minister of Gender Equality, faced a rough start to her hearing amid intense debates over allegations of workplace abuse. With 18 nominees, including 16 ministerial candidates, scheduled to appear before the National Assembly over the course of the week, the political standoff between the rival parties is expected to continue. Shin Ha-young, Arirang News.
And President Lee Jae-myung is dispatching special envoys overseas to signal what he calls the return of democratic Korea and ensure his administration's policy agenda. The president's office said Sunday that 4 delegations will visit the EU headquarters in Brussels, Belgium, as well as France, the UK, and India to strengthen South Korea's global ties. The EU team, led by former Environment Minister Yoon Hyo-jun, departed on Monday, with the other 3 teams leaving by Wednesday. Each delegation is made up of 3 members, mostly sitting lawmakers, headed by a chief envoy. They plan to meet with key officials and deliver personal letters from President Lee, underscoring South Korea's commitment to stronger ties. And additional envoys will be announced once schedules are finalized. The clock is winding down, with a U.S. tariff set to kick in on August 1st. South Korea's top trade negotiator faced the media earlier, saying that negotiations have made progress. And meanwhile, the U.S. says all this is not a bluff, while touting the measures so far. Our Kim Do-yeon reports.
With less than 3 weeks to go before sweeping U.S. tariffs take effect, South Korea's Trade Minister Yo Han-gu says negotiations with Washington have entered what he calls game time. Speaking to reporters on Monday at the Sejong government complex, Yo stressed With under 20 days left, it's now a time for choices and decisions. He added that Seoul is ramping up give-and-take talks to find a landing zone, aiming to secure a broad package deal. He also touched on a sensitive topic for the country, the agricultural industry. Free trade talks, not just with the U.S., but with any other partners, he said, is always, quote, painful. This is expected as the U.S. is demanding the lowering of trade barriers. Yo, however, underscored the need for strategic judgment as despite the pain for the agro sector, Korea's industry as a whole has taken steps forward so far from trade deals made in the past. Meanwhile, Seoul continues to call out what it sees as unfair U.S. tariffs already hitting Korean exports, including 50% duties on steel and 25% on cars. But this all comes as U.S. President Donald Trump ramps up pressure on trade partners after he touted the effects of tariffs so far on Sunday local time.
We have tariffs pouring in at levels that we have never seen before, and they've only just started.
Over the past week, Trump sent letters to 25 countries notifying them of blanket tariff rates: Korea, Japan, and Malaysia at 25%, 30% for Mexico and the European Union, and 50% for Brazil, reportedly due to stalled negotiations.
These are countries that have been shut to us, but we've been open to them. In other words, they wouldn't let us do business there, but they would do business in our country. Not a fair deal.
In an interview with ABC News, White House Economic Chief Kevin Hassett warned the tariffs are not just a negotiating tactic. He said if Trump doesn't get the deals he considers strong enough, the tariffs will be real, adding that the president was dissatisfied with some of the sketches of deals his own team had put forward. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
In line with his focus on communication, President Lee Jae-myung delivered a lecture today to soon-to-be civil servants, sharing his views on the mindset they should bring to public service. Our top office correspondent Song Yu-jin has more.
Ever since taking office, South Korean President Lee Jae-myung has emphasized that every hour spent by a public official is equivalent to 52 million hours for every person in the country. That sense of responsibility was the main message in a lecture the president delivered to some 300 trainee civil servants on Monday at the National Human Resources Development Institute in Jincheon, Chungcheongbuk-do Province. He described public service as work that could, quote, determine the country's fate.
공직자들 손에는 정말로 많은 사람들의 삶이 달려 있습니다. 여러분들은 더군다나 대한민국 공직자의 중간 관리자, 중간 간부, 사무관으로부터 출발하지 않습니까? 여러분 손에 엄청난 권한이 주어져 있죠.
The president also pointed out what he called the biggest problem in Korea's bureaucracy, a culture where well-intentioned decisions are still punished if they fail, which he says makes civil servants passive.
공직자들이 처하는 어떤 선택 결정의 단계에는 가능성이 무궁무진하죠. 그리고 그 사후적으로 이 결정이 잘 됐다, 아니면 그보다 더 나은 결정이 있었다라고 책임을 묻고 평가하게 되면 이거는 공직자들한테 신이 되라고 요구하는 것이나 마찬가지예요. 근데 우린 신이 아니잖아요. 사람으로서 최선을 다하는 거죠.
After the lecture, President Lee took questions from the audience, offering advice based on his experience as Seongnam City Mayor and Gyeonggi-do Province Governor.
모두에게 칭찬받는 일은 없어요. 정책을 하기 때문에. 충돌할, 조정할 권한을 우리가 국민에게 받았기 때문에 그걸 담보로 최대한 오해를 줄이고 이해시키고 조정하고 안 되면 마지막에는 칼로 자르듯이 권력을 행사해야죠.
This was the first time in 20 years that a sitting president lectured soon-to-be deputy directors the entry-level grade for those who passed the National Civil Service exam. Afterward, President Lee visited the site of the 2023 underpass flooding in Osong in the city of Cheongju for a safety inspection, reflecting his view that public officials must always prioritize people's safety. Tuesday marks exactly 2 years since the disaster, which killed 14 people. 송유진, Arirang News.
It's not just K-pop or Korean food that have been at high demand globally. So are vehicles used here in the country. Then, what are the drivers behind South Korea's record-breaking used car exports? Park Jun-an tells us.
What some in Korea see as outdated or no longer needed can become a brand new start on the other side of the world, such as used cars. South Korea's used car export market is gaining momentum, with shipments this year projected to exceed 10 trillion won, approximately $7.25 billion for the first time on record. With rising popularity in the Middle East, exports in June 2025 alone jumped nearly 68% year-on-year, extending the strong growth trend that began in the early 2020s.
I'm sitting in a used Korean car that is ready to be shipped overseas. In fact, thousands of cars like this leave this lot every day to welcome new owners around the world. Still runs perfectly.
Industry insiders claim that the vehicles made in Korea are well known for their affordability, reliability, and accessibility.
Korean used cars are exported to around 160 countries. Not only are they high in quality and equipped with many features, but they're also competitively priced. On top of that, Korea has a well-established parts supply system and after-sales services around the world.
Used car exports involve complex but streamlined processes, including vehicle collection, inspection, repairs, deregistration, and coordination with customs brokers and freight forwarders. Once loaded onto ships, vehicles begin their second life overseas. Despite the positive outlook, there are looming risks. Local exporters shared concern over rising shipping costs and tightening import regulations abroad, especially in light of the U.S. government's recent tariff actions that could impact the price of overseas car shipping.
Our biggest concern right now, especially with the hike in U.S. tariffs, is the spike in freight rates. A couple of months ago, the cost nearly tripled, and it's been fluctuating ever since. That's become one of the biggest challenges for dealers like us.
Supported by continued demand for used vehicles, coupled with government support to deal with regulatory challenges in global trade, South Korea's used vehicle exports are expected to grow steadily. Park Jun-an, Arirang News.
In other news, while most of us are staying indoors to beat the heat, some are sprinting right into it. And they're not doing it alone. Our Park Kyo-bin has this story.
It's 7 p.m. on a humid summer evening, but the heat hasn't stopped these runners. People stretch, chat, and tie their shoelaces, getting ready for their weekly run.
I really feel like I've become healthier through running. Even when it's tough in the summer, I think of it as a double XP event, so I push myself even harder.
When I run with the crew, I get more energy from the people around me. I end up running further than I could on my own, and I enjoy it more too.
They're the Seoul Running Crew, a free community running program held at 3 locations across Seoul. Every Thursday evening, runners meet up and split into beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels.
Right now, I'm running with the crew members here at Seoul Yeouido Park, and even when the sun's nearly gone down, the heat is intense and so is the energy.
Led by professional coaches, including former national athletes, participants are guided safely based on their pace and fitness levels. Since this season kicked off in April, all 60 spots at each location have been fully booked every single week. To support this growing fitness trend, the city has even revamped its infrastructure. Take Yeouido Station right in the heart of Seoul's business district. It now features a runner station, a dedicated facility for joggers equipped with lockers and changing rooms, so office workers can head straight out for a run after work. The station also offers live weather updates, UV levels, and wind speed, so runners can check if conditions are safe to run. There are also checkup sessions for beginner runners, helping them find the right pace range and recommending routes that match their fitness level. Despite the sweltering heat, more and more people are lacing up their shoes and hitting the asphalt. For them, summer nights aren't just about beating the heat, they're about building community, pushing limits, and making the city their own. Park Kubin, Arirang News.
K-pop girl group Blackpink performed before a total audience of 100,000 fans over the weekend at LA SoFi Stadium, kicking off the U.S. portion of its ongoing Deadline World Tour. According to YG Entertainment on Monday, Blackpink sold out both the Saturday and Sunday shows, becoming the first girl group in the world to attract such a crowd at the venue. The group will continue their North American tour with upcoming stops, including Chicago, before heading to other continents. YG also said Blackpink's new digital single Jump has topped global streaming charts, including Spotify's daily top songs global as of Saturday. Two historic sites here on the Korean Peninsula have been listed as UNESCO World Heritage Sites over the weekend, one each from the two Koreas. A set of prehistoric rock carvings in South Korea and North Korea's Mount Kumgang. Lee Seung-jae reports.
During the 47th session of the UNESCO World Heritage Committee in Paris on Sunday, a new addition for both South Korea and North Korea was added to the list. First, North Korea's Mount Kumgang, a scenic mountain known for its beauty, was named a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Listed officially as Mount Kumgang, Diamond Mountain from the Sea, the inclusion comes as the International Union for Conservation of Nature, which serve as advisory bodies to the World Heritage Committee, recommended the inclusion in May. According to UNESCO's website, Mount Kumgang is a strikingly beautiful mountain with numerous peaks and curious rocks amounting to some 1,200 waterfalls and pools formed by crystal-like clear waters flowing from hundreds of gorges, as well as with the seascape stretched along the coastline. The mountain is North Korea's third World Cultural Heritage Site after the complex of Goguryeo tombs in 2004 and the historic monuments and sites in Kaesong in 2013. Meanwhile, a set of prehistoric rock carvings located in South Korea's Ulsan has also been added to UNESCO's World Heritage List. Petroglyphs along the Pangucheon stream were officially recognized for their significant cultural value in Paris. Located along the Pangucheon stream, a tributary of the Taewon River in Ulsan, some 360 kilometers southeast of Seoul. The petroglyphs are carved into vertical cliffs, depicting prehistoric hunting scenes and animals. According to the committee, the carvings are masterpieces created through the creativity of prehistoric people. And for South Korea, the inclusion of the prehistoric art spanning some 6,000 years was a long time coming.
The Korean Heritage Service will do its best to protect the value of the Pangucheon petroglyphs as a common heritage of mankind and to preserve and utilize them well.
With the latest addition, the country now has 17 entries on the UNESCO World Heritage List. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Time now to take a look at what's been happening in the world of sports. Joining us in the studio is our sports editor, Paul Neat. Hello, Paul.
Hello there.
Why don't we start with EAFF E-1 football championships. The tournament will conclude this week, and I believe Korea's men's and women's could both win.
Yes, they could both win. Both are unbeaten thus far, and both have massive games coming up this week. The men's competition concludes on Tuesday with South Korea facing Japan at 7:24 in Yongin. Now, both teams are locked on 6 points after 2 wins, but South Korea must win because Japan have a better goal difference. A draw would not be enough. South Korea beat Hong Kong on Friday 2-0 thanks to first national team goals from Kang Sang-yoon and Lee Ho-jae. The Taeguk ladies, meanwhile, have to rely on results elsewhere to secure the title. After 2 straight draws, South Korea must beat Chinese Taipei on Wednesday at 8 p.m. in Suwon and score enough goals to better Japan's goal difference of +4. Korea's is currently 0. They also need Japan and China to play out a draw. On Sunday in Hwasong, South Korea came back from behind to draw late on with Japan thanks to Jong Da-bin's equaliser in the 86th minute.
Well, fingers crossed for both of the teams. Now, moving on to baseball now, there was a Korean derby in MLB.
There was indeed, yes. The San Francisco Giants faced the LA Dodgers. This meant that Lee Jong-hoo was up against Kim Hye-sung, two former teammates from the Kiwoom Heroes. In Friday's game, both registered 3 hits in an 8-7 win for the Giants. Lee, batting at number 6 and playing centre field, went 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs, including a go-ahead 3-base hit in the 4th inning. Batting at number 8 and starting at second base, Kim also recorded 3 hits in 4 at-bats, scoring once and stealing 2 bases. On Saturday, Kim Hye-sung scored a key run to help the Dodgers earn a much-needed win, ending their worst losing streak of the season. He batted 1 for 4 with an RBI in the 2-1 victory. Both featured in Sunday's game, which ended 5-2 to the Dodgers.
Paul, let's rewind to last Friday. We had the KBO All-Star game last Friday. Who won? Tell us.
I can tell you it was Team Nanum. They beat Team Dream 8-6. At Daejeon Hanwha Life Ballpark, LG Twins catcher Park Dong-won was the standout player with 3 hits and 3 RBIs. He also hit a 2-run homer in the 1st inning, and with 27 out of 28 votes from the media, was named MVP. Team Nanam had players from the LG Twins, the Kia Tigers and the NC Dinos, while Team Dream had players from the Samsung Lions, the Doosan Bears, the KT Wiz, the SSG Landers and the Lotte Giants. The match was a sellout crowd with 16,850 fans in attendance. The KBO resumes its normal schedule this week.
All right, so finally to athletics, another win for Woo Sang-hyuk.
Yes, that's 7 in a row now on the high jump world stage. At the Stade Louis II in Monaco on Friday, Woo jumped 2.34 meters at a Diamond League event, his 2nd Diamond League win this year and 5th overall. Now, 2.34 meters is also the best anyone has done this year in an outdoor event. The win also means that he has booked his place at the World Championships in Tokyo this September.
Great stuff. As always, Paul, thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Rain will gradually fall around the whole country. It will rain more than 100 millimeters in eastern parts of Gangwon-do province by tomorrow. Up to 50 millimeters of rain is expected in the Seoul metropolitan area, Chungcheongnam-do province and the Jeollado provinces, and 5 to 40 millimeters in the Gyeongsang-do provinces. With rain clouds, the heat wave has cooled down nationwide. The daytime temperature in Seoul only topped out at 29 degrees Celsius and 31 degrees in Daegu. Temperatures will stay under 30 degrees even during the day across the country tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, Seoul, Chuncheon, Gwangju, and Daegu will start off at 22 degrees, Jeju at 24 degrees. Daily highs move up to 29 degrees in Seoul, Chuncheon, Gyeongju, Jeju, and Daegu, 28 degrees in Busan and Gwangju. This rain will stop tomorrow afternoon and come back again around the country on Wednesday. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
That is all we have for tonight. I'm Kim Dami. For all of us here at Arirang, thanks for watching and good night.